my name is Harry Scott Munro and I'm the Women's Growth Manager here at Harlequins. I think it's brilliant. You've got Pat, someone that's that prime example, someone that's come through the ranks, learnt the game, learnt at different points and reached that top job. I think that's really good, but actually for Harlequins, one thing it's great having the first woman in a head of women's rugby role or a senior rugby role above director of rugby is great for the club, but it's great for Pat, and it's kudos to her, but it's really important. It shows that there is that viable pathway. I think with Pat, she's also done that work with the university pathway, been really crucial in bringing that together, and has then done a great job with the forwards, coaching the forwards in the PWR Cup. So that's been great. There's not many female coaches in the game at the moment. So having someone like Pat's been able to demonstrate that and then move up into that top senior role is really important. We want it to just be the norm that somebody gets the job because they're the best person for the job. It's an understanding of the game, I think, in terms of if you look at a coaching structure, you look at a medical structure, you look at a head of women's performance, women's rugby as a sport has only been, call it professional with a little p, but it's only been in that area for 7 or 8 years. It's been amateur before that, and you've got brilliant male coaches, brilliant male staff that can step over into the game, but there's bits around the week to week of balancing being an athlete and a professional athlete as well as having a 9-to-5 job or medical bits and pieces that players might feel more comfortable speaking to female coaches about or female staff about. But then also there's that greater understanding of the women's game as a whole, where it's at, where it's going to, how that's developed. And that's not to say that, again, male coaches and male members of staff in the women's game don't do that. The ones that are in it are very, very good at it. But I think that's a really important element to have within that space. It's experience, isn't it, at the end of the day? I think if you've got a player that actively expresses an interest in that, it's how can you get them engaged into coaching at an easier level potentially to start with. If you've got a player that's long-term injured, for example, that is in their early 20s, mid-20s, or even up to sort of those more mid-30s where people are looking to retire, get them involved in community camps, going and coaching community players, young girls and boys under 8s all the way up to under 16s, under 18s. Give them the support to go and do their coaching badges as well. That's so important. If you can get someone into a position where they're level 1, level 2 qualified, then that's going to really help them out when they finish their career, and they can then move on into doing level 3 qualification, which is being a head coach or a director of rugby in a senior club role. So being able to do that is really important for clubs, giving players those options, knowing that it's a viable option as well, and chatting, just being open and honest about it as well. If you've got a cup block, for example, and you've got a senior player that's injured, get them involved, get them coaching the sessions, get them coaching different bits and pieces to build up their confidence as well, because the best way you can learn is experience. A big part of it has got to come from community foundation groups that you've got out into the local community. We want former players or current players that are going to retire to know that it's a viable option, but we also want people that are coming up through the pathways or playing community rugby at the moment to know that, look, you know what, playing rugby at elite level might not be for me, or playing rugby at any level might not be for me, but I've got such a passion for this and I feel like I'm really, really good at being able to convey tactics, structures, messaging, how I want to coach a team. So understanding that actually there's different routes into the game, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you're grassroots on a Sunday, or that to PWR level. It's knowing that there is that pathway. It's helping when there's coaching sessions going on, or there's getting involved in those, or more importantly, when you've got opportunities for people to go and do coaching courses, making sure that you are pushing people in that direction if they want to go to them. I think those are the most important things. It's just breaking down those barriers, making it as easy as it can be to access those options, learn about how to go down that route, and then allowing people to go and flourish. I think it's really important. You look at the PWR, no senior coach, head coach or director of rugby in the PWR is female. They're all male. They're brilliant coaches. They're brilliant people in their own rights that are huge, huge advocates for the women's game. But last season you had 2. Season before you had 3 or 4. So we need to look at why has that number dropped? What is the blockage, if you like, in the system to allow those players to come through and become coaches going forward? That's the main thing. You want people in those positions not just because they're women, but because they are the best people for that job, and they get the program they're looking after, they get the athletes that they're trying to develop. And if you've got more women in those positions, more people are going to see it as a viable path.